it up. Because it's all interrelated, dynamic systems. Dynamic systems. Look at our time. All right, I'm trying to keep the time. All right. I pretty much a lot of stuff is history stuff, okay, thrown in there. Okay? So, in the black community, there's always been restrictions against eating pork. Now, that seems almost counterproductive to even mention, right? But there's always been a thread of restrictions against eating pork in the black community. You know? So many don't eat it because of folk traditions or their religious traditions. 10 to 20% of the Africans who were brought to the Americas as slaves were Muslim. They weren't eating pork. All right? That entered into, you know, their lineage also. Maybe down the line, the particular descendant wasn't Muslim, but in that particular family, they just didn't eat pork. They didn't necessarily know why. You had crypto-Judaism, all right? When I was younger, you had the little phrase, 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, type of thing. Remember when Christopher Columbus first sailed? Well, also during that time is when the Moors and also the Jews were kicked out of Spain and Portugal. All right? And what happened is that, especially in Mexico and different parts of the Caribbean, many Jewish people actually came to the Americas. All right? But they were also forced to live as what's called crypto-Jews, or crypto-Judaism. All right? They had to basically hide their religion under the veneer of Catholicism. The same way that the slaves many times had to hide their particular reverence for the Orishas and stuff of West African religions under Catholicism. So this is what is called this crypto-Judaism. And so once again, you have many lineages, especially, I know actually a few who are Puerto Rican who are from said lineage, and they didn't know why their family didn't eat pork, or that they had certain salt restrictions in terms of cooking and stuff like that, follow certain kosher laws and didn't realize it. All right. Once again, the World Parliament of Religion during the Columbian Exposition, major key, if you want to definitely research that in terms of the influence that it had over the Americas. But once again, those different types of religions that came into existence, a lot of them came after that. And so a lot of it became iterations of Islam. So you have, you know, the Nation of Islam, 5%ers. They actually popularized within the black community, you know, not eat pork. I mean, you could have, you know, the grimiest person who will eat anything and they won't touch pork, you know, because of these restrictions that's been put on them. And then you had new cuisines that popped up, you know, such as the bean pie, bean soup, and intermittent fasting, which the Nation of Islam practiced since their inception. And, you know, in the early 1930s, they practiced eating one meal a day. So intermittent fasting, you know, we now have the, you know, the proof for it, but people have been practicing it for, you know, a minute, and especially even within the black community. All right, with time. Oh, so now we go full circle around in terms of, so how did you fully end up becoming like plant eater dude? Well, I found people that I was like, oh, they're eating plants. They're eating more fruits and vegetables, and these are pretty much, these three next people are my inspiration. George Washington Carver. I would start with the bottom, which he has been dubbed the Black Leonardo, all right? He was an American agricultural scientist, inventor. He actively promoted alternative crops and cotton methods to prevent soil depletion, to the point that he is credited in the Americas in this modern phase with basically saving America from itself in terms of monocropping. All right. But I want to also emphasize that indigenous populations were already practicing that also. All right. 105 recipes utilizing soy peanuts or sweet potatoes. And you can still find them. I did his fried chicken recipe with sweet potatoes the other day. It's ridiculous. There's no reason why sweet potatoes should taste like fried chicken, but he did that. He did that. All right, because he usually gets talked about only like in terms of peanuts. All right. I want to emphasize two things with him with peanuts. He did not create peanut butter. All right. Peanut butter, in terms of a peanut paste, was already being made by the Incas. But he did create a particular recipe for peanut butter. He was a leader during his life in environmentalism, not just because I said so, because the government of the United States said so. Okay, he was that dude. He got all the accolades. He worked with Ford on creating an alternative to gasoline, and actually a car had soy as a plastic base and was ethanol powered. And the reason why is because even during that time, during World War II, people forget that the United States was being blocked off from a lot of places where they get their oil or get petrol products. So there was a real think tank here like, yo, we need to get off these petrol products because we're locked off from them. But then after the war, we had access to these areas that kind of got pushed to the side by big businesses and stuff in the 50s and 60s. All right. Another little side note, he was probably castrated while he was a slave. Yeah. This is my other man. This man right here. Dick Gregory is the man. First of all, for those who don't know, we got Dick Gregory to basically bless our work of HoodHealth. He wrote the intro to HoodHealth. We called him, we sent him the box, we sent him the book, and before he passed, he said, I want y'all to continue the work that I'm doing. So that to me, no one can tell me nothing. So my greatest quote from him is, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I understand there are many Southerners in the room tonight. I know that South very well. I spent 20 years there one night. Last time I was South, I walked into this restaurant and this white waitress came up to me and said, we don't serve colored people here. I said, that's all right. Don't eat color. Bring me a whole fried chicken. Then these three white boys come to me and said, boy, we give you fair warning. Anything you do to that chicken, we're going to do to you. So I put down my knife and fork, I picked up that chicken and I kissed it. And I said, line up, boys. He's that dude, okay? He's that uncle that, your parents told you about. All right. And that actually, he was one of the first black comedians who caught the sight of Playboy, and he was one of the first black comedians that was out there like that. He moved from comedy and became a civil rights activist. He was involved in so much, you can look him up in terms of, if there was an injustice in the world, he was probably protesting against it. But he became a vegan in the 1960s. All right. And he was actually influenced by another black woman in Chicago, who's very famous in black vegan circles, and her name escapes me right now, but her book is at the end of this. And to become, a vegan. And he went on to influence either some of the members of Martin Luther King's family to become vegan. And he always connected all these things together. Here's some other quotes by him. The second one is the key one for me, because I'm a civil rights activist, I am also an animal rights activist. Animals and humans suffer and die alike. Violence causes the same pain, the same spilling of blood, the same stench of death, the same arrogant, cruel, and vicious taking of life. We shouldn't be a part of it.
Yep.
All right? Dick Gregory said it. And the reason I say Dick Gregory said it is because if you have these in your arsenal when you go up in the communities, you have someone that looks like them saying the same thing that you want to get across to them. And it becomes more palatable. It's cool to be healthy. Can you imagine him saying it's cool to be healthy? I would have wanted to be him. I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. And this other one, the funny one, I don't eat anything that can fart, doo-doo, pee, or screw. Come on, it's classic material. He also wrote one of the earlier books on vegetarianism within the black community called Cooking with Mother Nature, which was actually one of my inspirations in terms of to do the HoodHealth handbook. That book you can't find anywhere now. It's one of those paperback books that they print out during the 70s and 60s that they probably only made like 100 copies of. But great book, incredible book.
What's the title again?
Cooking with Mother Nature. Dr. Eris Lathan, how we doing on time? I knew it.
Bad.
Yeah, what's that? So I went through this phase where I was like a raw vegan for a while. Don't hate. Right. I was a raw vegan for a while, even after I just talked about homegirl, right? I was a raw vegan for a while because there used to be a raw restaurant in West Haven that I also could go to, and they would make fancy stuff that I can't really make. But Dr. Eris Lathan in New York, in Harlem, actually he might be in Brooklyn now. He started doing raw food stuff in 1979, from Panama. He does live foods, cooking demonstration classes and things like that. He's a big man in the field, and he's still doing his thing. He's still out there doing his thing. And he has a book called Sun-Fried Foods, which is a great book. Even if you don't want to do raw veganism, it's good to really figure out how to freak food and like, yo, oh, this is kind of good. All right. But wait, there's more. Not really. I just want to mention, because we don't have a lot of time, these things right here are also things that are part of the Black diversified and taught. You have the ITAL diet of Rastafarianism. All right. Once again, the Seventh-day Adventists also, Vanessa put up the studies, there's also sub-studies with the Black population of Seventh-day Adventists, and they're contrasting them against the Black population in the Americas. Also incredible stuff. There's a whole history of Black Hebrews, the Black Hebrews that specifically came out of Chicago and migrated to Israel in terms of their vegan, and they actually opened up the first chain of Black vegan restaurants in the United States in the 80s. There's an intersection of veganism and feminism, which is another level too. All these ways that you can have this conversation without just saying, I'm a vegan, you're not, you're bad. There's ways to flip it. So, this is a list of some books. You're gonna take a picture. These are some books up here that are written by some of my contemporaries. Did I put Afro-Vegan up there? Okay, yeah, Afro-Vegan's up there. And some of these people actually have pieces within the HoodHealth Handbook also. And they're good books to have. They're good books to really, really diversify your talk around you know, the plant-based narrative. And that's my contact information. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you have any questions, you can roll up on me afterwards.